the #1 cable news show for 12 years running.
Thank you for staying with us. I am Monica Crowley, in tonight for Bill O'Reilly. And in the personal story segment, a group of 10 immigration and customs enforcement agents have filed a lawsuit against their own agency, claiming the Obama administration is not allowing them to identify and deport illegal aliens. The suit was filed in Dallas federal court yesterday and names Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano and ICE Director John Morton as defendants. Joining me now from Salt Lake City, Crane, one of the ICE agents behind the suit, and from Kansas City, Kansas Secretary of State Kris Kobach, attorney for the ICE agents. Kris and Kris, welcome. Kris Crane, let me begin with you because you are an ICE agent. You have joined this lawsuit. Can you tell us how the executive order that came out of the Department of Homeland Security, how it's making your job and your fellow ICE agents' jobs so much more difficult?
Well, you bet, Monica, but that's a really big question, and we don't really have all the answers to that yet. But I will tell you, for example, with issues like the deferred action policy that just recently came out, our officers are out in the field, inside of jails, trying to use this very confusing policy that the administration has put out there. And basically our guidance at this point is we simply take the individual's word that they actually went to high school, or that they have a GED, that they came into the country at the appropriate time, and once they tell us that they qualify as a dreamer, we're expected to accept that. So not only are we not enforcing the law, but we're not even enforcing the policy.
Kris Kobach, the unilateral action coming from this administration in this regard, it seems to contravene directly federal immigration law as it currently stands and is therefore illegal. Is that what you're arguing in this lawsuit?
Yes, that's right, Monica. It's illegal on multiple levels, but the three main reasons it's illegal is, first of all, there's a federal statute that already says that ICE agents like Kris Crane have to put certain aliens into removal proceedings. Not may, but shall place them in removal proceedings. It's ordering agents to violate that federal law. It's also illegal because it violates the Administrative Procedure Act. If they had statutory authority to do this in the Obama administration, they would have had to promulgate a regulation and have a comment period. They didn't do any of that. And then thirdly, it violates the separation of powers. As you know, there have been 24 DREAM Act bills in Congress, and none of them have passed. Congress clearly understands that only the legislative branch of the federal government can do this, not the executive branch, but it appears that Obama is trying to do this through executive fiat, and our Constitution does not allow that.
And Kris Kobach, on that point, I mean, the President of the United States, as head of the executive branch, is supposed to be the nation's chief law enforcement officer. So shouldn't he be upholding the law rather than, #1, going around the legislative branch to make up his own laws, and secondly, uphold existing law? I mean, he seems to be acting so extra constitutionally here.
It's unconstitutional on so many levels. Article 2, Section 3 of the United States Constitution says that the executive shall take care that the laws are faithfully executed. Our chief executive in the White House today is essentially ordering federal law enforcement agents not to enforce the law and to break the law themselves. It's absolutely astounding, and I think it has echoes of Fast and Furious here, again, where this administration ordered law enforcement agents to ignore the law, all in the interest of some political agenda in the White House.
Kris Crane, it's got to be incredibly demoralizing for you and your team over at ICE because you're trying to enforce federal immigration laws. You're trying to uphold the existing laws of the land, and now you've got a presidential administration muddying the waters and saying, no, don't do that, do this. Your guys don't know what they're supposed to follow out there in the field. They're on the front lines of trying to stem this rising tide of illegal immigration. What are you hearing from these guys? I mean, it seems to me that the President of the United States is on the side of the lawbreakers rather than on the side of the American people, and you guys out in the field trying to uphold and enforce the law.
Absolutely. You know, we've been very public about the incident in El Paso, where we had one individual that had already been arrested by local police for assaulting one of their own family members. That individual attempted to try to escape from ICE agents. In the course of that escape, one of our officers was injured. We take him back to the office, and our supervisors tell us that, you know, hey, we don't care about the fact that he's been arrested by local police. We don't care about the fact that he's injured a member of the public and one of our own officers. We need to release this individual immediately, without investigation, without questioning, simply because he falls under the president's new policies. Of course, we've also got the situation in Delaware where one of our officers arrested an illegal alien, attempted to place that individual into proceedings, which is our sworn oath under the law to do, and he now faces a 3-day suspension. So absolutely, our folks out in the field have their heads down. We have become the enemy of this administration, not the lawbreakers. Our own officers are now the enemy.
Kris Kobach, the Founding Fathers gave us a republic that was built on laws, not on the ambitions of men. And they gave us a constitution that our leaders are supposed to follow. It looks like under this president, we don't have a constitutional republic anymore. We've got a banana republic, especially given the experiences that you guys are detailing for us here. So what... I mean, you know, the question is, what do we do about this? I mean, is there anything we can do from now until November, when hopefully we will defeat Barack Obama and get an actual law-abiding president in office? Is there anything the American people can do to try to stem this tide?
Well, I think the American people can certainly voice their opinion to members of Congress and to try to give Congress some backbone here. Not to say that they don't have it, but they need to be given some motivation from the people saying, look, this president is not enforcing our immigration laws. We want you to do something about it. That means, you know, taking every action they can. And then we have to hope that the courts will ultimately stand by the Constitution and stand by the letter of federal law, which I'm confident they will.
Gentlemen, keep fighting the good fight. We appreciate you so much. Thank you.